I hear an alarm clock going off right now. Hang on.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. Time to record.
No,
Okay,
6
go ahead.
o'clock.
Go ahead.
Hang on.
Go ahead. This is perfect because now I can get the introduction out of the way without Richard interrupting us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 61. I got that right, of Retro Fandango. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things. Box of Bones. I'm not sure what that is. Richard put that in the outline. We got video game talk. We're actually going to talk about some video games. Left 4 Dead 2, Freedom Fighters, The King of Dragons, GOG.com, Elite Dangerous, some American Truck Simulator, and I found some 3DS games that we're going to talk about. Then later on, we might talk about some politics. Who knows? And then we got some Star Trek, which everyone loves. I watched the movie Election again, which was good times. We'll talk about that.
Who are you talking to?
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Meatballs, and Eastern Promises are the movies we'll be talking about.
You talking to people already?
House cleaning. Quick Save Club. Rolled over to a new game. We're now playing Torchlight 2. Special guest, possibly the Sippy Vox. And
really?
Yeah, well, you're the guy that's slated. You're on our list, on our outline.
Did I request to be on that episode?
You did. You said Torchlight 2.
I said the words.
You did, yes. You have the game. Epic gave it. The Epic Game Store gave it to you for free, right?
I can see if I can play it.
CC Prime is playing Parasite Eve. I should probably fire that up. Get this TV turned on, plugged in and turned on. And RF Gen is playing Fatal Frame 2, The Crimson Butterfly. I guess Parasite Eve is kind of Halloween.
That's a silly name.
It is. What is it with butterflies and horror? Like, I think, did that really start with Silence of the Lambs? You know?
Well, that was a moth.
Right, he would put a moth inside the mouth, but then it just seemed like butterfly effect and butterfly this, and it just seemed like butterflies became creepy.
The people just like the juxtaposition, ooh, scary thing, pretty butterfly. Or is it the idea of the metamorphosis,
the cocoon
into something?
Yeah. I don't know. And I want to give everyone a heads up to a brand new podcast joining the Cartridge Club family. Be sure to check out. I listened to the episode. I can't exactly remember the name, but I think the name was Brokeback Nonsense. I believe that was the name of the show.
What are you implying?
I listened to it, and the two people on there seemed very connected on a level that is much higher than just a couple of friends. They seemed really. They're
really into each other.
Yeah. Did you listen to it? Did you listen to
I did.
Brokeback,
I did.
Nonsense?
But like you, in all seriousness, I cannot remember the name of the podcast. It keeps slipping out of my head, even though I know it's so simple. I'm sure that can't possibly be the name.
I'm sure it's Brokeback Nonsense. But I was listening to the episode, and it was funny because it has Duke and Chris Roberts on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about their relationship, and Duke's like, you're the only one in the Cartridge Club that I talk to on a regular basis. Like, I call each other on the phone, and we talk about retro things, and our love of nostalgia. And
they send each other packages too.
Yeah, they like to touch each other's packages. So I'm like thinking, man, I don't have a friend like that at all. Like, there's no one that I call up and chat to on the phone, and I started feeling like maybe there should be someone. And then that went through my head for about a split second, because then I thought, wait a minute, I don't want a friend like that. Can you imagine, like, you're all day at work, you come home, make supper, Sarah and you eat it, and then we watch a movie, that's our together time, and then she goes and does her thing, and then it's my time. It's finally time for me to do my thing, and I grab my records or CDs, and get ready to listen to some stuff and put them on the hard drive and that. And at that moment, that's the moment where Duke calls and he wants to talk about Transformers Season 1. I'm like, I don't want that.
You got to get into the moment, though. You got to get like your nostalgic Mickey Mouse telephone and lay down You lay down on the carpet, with your feet kind of up in the air.
Yeah. You're down. You're on your stomach.
Yeah, you're on your stomach, and then you
the
twist
cord
the cord. On your finger.
Mm-hmm.
It's good times.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, maybe I'll get one of them.
You hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. I'm not gonna hang up. You hang up.
That's right. Bill did text me yesterday, but it's always about a thing. Like Bill would never text me just to chat.
Well, apparently he texted Kevon.
Yeah, that's the name. That's
Kevon.
Yeah.
Is that his little pet name for you?
It is an Adam Sandler reference, which I know you are a huge fan of. You remember when Adam Sandler would come on the Weekend Update with Kevin Nealon, and he'd be the Cajun man? And be Kevin Nealon.
I think I've heard you mention this before, but no, I don't remember that.
Well, that's what happened.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he did actually text me. He texted me. He found a Burt Reynolds record. Bill is like the champion of finding these records. He's doing God's work. He's going through all the crappy records just to find vinyl records with Burt Reynolds' face on it, so I can have it.
Are you saying that Bill just naturally gravitates towards the crappy stuff?
I mean, it's happened like twice now in a month where he has found a vinyl record with Burt Reynolds' face on it.
What do you mean Burt Reynolds? Did he sing?
No, but he was in movies, and they made soundtrack for the movies.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, that's something you would be into. I get that.
Absolutely. No, and I appreciate it.
Smokey and the Bandit record, the official soundtrack on vinyl.
Absolutely. I'm stoked. I'm happy. I'm appreciative. We've got a bunch of people in chat. We've got Rocket Sauce and Toku Joe and Bill. That's 3. That's good. And some people are afraid of moths. A moth is as harmless as a ladybug. Yeah.
Oh, don't get Steven Eider started on moths. He's got a whole collection in his house.
I believe it. In his closet. An unintentional collection is what I imagine his collection is. Okay. We got a lot to talk about.
Apparently. You were
Fandango. Hey, hold on.
Off on all of this.
Curtis's Revenge this month. We're watching Trolls 2, The Troll Hunter, and Ernest Scared Stupid. All 3 movies are in the Fandango folder. Check them out. The movie that was the biggest, hugest friggin' file that I had to get rid of a couple of movies that were in there was friggin' Ernest Scared Stupid. The other 2 were respectable 1 gig files. Ernest Scared Stupid was 3.5 gigs. It was 3.5 gigs or a half a gig file. And the half a gig file would only download so much, and it just wouldn't go. But the 3 gig one downloaded right away. I'm like, how am I got? And now I got to ram a 3 gig file into my 15 gig Google Drive thing. I should probably use the Retro Fandango Gmail, because it has its own Google Drive thing as well. And there's nothing else in there, where I'm trying to share my, all my photos are in there. And anyways.
Right.
Next
Your
month,
sacrifice is appreciated, though.
Next month in November, we have the Coming of Age 3-pack. We'll have It's Rocket Sauce back on. By the way, if you missed the last episode, Fandango, that was a fun episode. It was good times.
It was. Rocket Sauce interjected a brand new element.
Yes. Which you're not going to want to miss.
And I vote that we keep it. I really enjoyed that.
So, yeah, for the next one, I'm going to try to... I didn't really have time today to open this all up in Google Chrome, because all my links and everything are in Firefox. But I'll try it in Chrome, and we'll have it there.
Oh, no. I vote we keep it exactly as it was, because even though it's a pain to try to match it up, we got to collaborate ahead of time on what trailer's being played.
I see. Okay.
But even though it's a little bit of a pain to match it up, it was surprising. Rocket Sauce hit so many of the lines perfectly that when I play the trailer, it lines right up.
No, because I could hear the audio from the trailer, right? And I was watching it, and he was just verbatim. Yeah,
it was something.
Nailed it.
So I vote that we assume or try to remember what they say and give our little commentary, and then line it up later in editing, and then you get to see, wow, this person knew exactly what was going on, and this person had no idea.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put the links right in the outline, so then you'll have the exact ones that we use.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so next month, Stand By Me, Rushmore, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Next month.
Next month. This month.
Then we're in a month. Okay.
Right.
My mistake.
Next month, I don't know what we're doing yet, but we're not going to start now, because if we do, it's going to turn into 6, 12, 18 different movies. And then we'll narrow it down to 3. And then when we get to that month, Kevin is going to be confused as to what movie you watch. And I'll probably end up watching Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Just watch the bikini movie again.
I'll talk about that movie. It was good.
I still haven't seen it.
We'll talk about it. All right, let's get into it. It's enough of an intro. It's 10 minutes. Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Box of Bones. What are you talking about?
We're starting off with the good stuff.
Sure. It's what's first in the outline.
Yeah. June 15th, 2020. I placed an order.
Oh,
Reaper Bones.
I saw this one. Okay, I know what this is.
Yeah, I placed an order. And they're based for Reaper Bones is a company that makes little miniatures for tabletop gaming and whatnot. And you paint them up and everything, do your little Warhammer thing. So I placed an order back in June, and they told me, of course, with Corona and shipping delays and everything, it might take a little while. And I didn't want to be mean and nasty and, constantly checking over the shoulder. Where's my package? Where's my package? Where's my package? That sounds like something you'd hear on another podcast.
Brokeback nonsense.
Anywho, I would just check in like once a month. It's like, hey, what's going on? Any updates? Nothing. So I finally hit to where it was the 3-month point. I was like, what's going on? Where's my package? So I emailed them again. They said, you know what? It's still somewhere over the ocean between Hawaii and Australia. Because apparently what happened is because of all the shipping delays and everything, or I guess this is just how they normally do it. The package they're based in Texas. So the package leaves the US and heads to Australia. From Australia, it has to come up to Japan. And what they told me early on is it takes a flight to Australia, but from Australia, it has to go surface by boat up to Japan. A lot of delays, a lot of things being held over. Basically, they said, okay, this package is stuck in the middle of the ocean. We're just going to pack it up again. And we shipped out a brand new box.
Oh, nice.
So forget about the first package. Second package is on its way. Air delivery has opened up since then, so it should get to you a lot sooner. So it took about a month for the second package to get here. So I just got it and kind enough to leave it right nearby so I can do the visual thing.
So there's a possibility
that look at that. Yay! Look at that.
There's a possibility that second box can arrive as well.
Well, what I suppose, I imagine they are going to recollect it and just bring it back to their company. I mentioned that in my email. I was like, I understandably, I assume you're just going to cancel that first box. And they didn't say anything about it. So I don't know. I got what I ordered, so okay. I'm happy. And these things, it could be my old man eyes in need of glasses, but they're a whole lot smaller than I thought they were going to be. Like the details are just a little bit intimidating now.
Well, it does say miniature on the box.
Right, but they give you the measurements online. You kind of like get a rough idea, and the pictures you see are blown up just a little bit.
Of course.
And of course, I zoom in, so when you actually see it in person, and it's like, ooh, that's tiny.
I can't remember. I think it was a Star Trek toy I got out of a cereal box one time, and when I got the toy out of the box, it was a Klingon bird of prey. I looked at it, and it was so much smaller than what was on the box, and you could actually overlay the toy on top of the picture on the box, and it was 2/3 the size.
Oh yeah, that's what you see on the cover of every cereal box, enlarged for detail.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you're a kid,
those giant Cheerios look like donuts.
True enough.
Yeah, okay. But my kids are happy because they requested a bunch and they started ripping them open. So.
Nice. Well, I'm happy you and the kids are happy.
We're going to be painting.
Is that the weekend plan? Do some painting?
Oh gosh, well you got to scrape off the extra plastic from the seams, and you got to wash them all and then prime them. So we'll see.
Gotcha.
We'll get started.
Gotcha. Yeah, Sarah was looking at my half-done Camaro the other day. That's been sitting there for quite a while.
Yeah, you big phony. Went out and bought an airbrush and everything.
Sarah's like,
doing this nerd stuff.
Sarah's like, are you ever gonna do that thing? I'm like, don't make me open up the crates of knitting that we have in the basement. And she's like, all right, fair enough.
Everybody's got their little backlog.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, the model kit stuff is still interesting to me. The one problem is after you finish it, what do you do with it? They tend to be a lot larger. That's one reason I'm glad these things are so small. When you finish it, you can stick it in a box and put it away.
Yeah.
But I mean, with this stuff, the goal is we're going to play a game with them and use them for something. Whereas you build a robot, that's a nice robot. No, I gotta leave it on the shelf and dust it once in a while.
Well, I got the hot rod, and I walk by it all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, there's my hot rod. It's done. So you get a little sense of accomplishment there when you walk by it. It's like, oh yeah, there that is. Well, you want to talk about some video games?
I did put that in the outline.
I know. Craziness.
Isn't that something? Several exclamation points and question marks with it as well.
Well, you sounded confused. Like, video game talk?
Yeah, well, who would expect it on this podcast?
Not me.
But I had a bunch of things catch my eye, which I have to look at to remember now. Okay. Yeah, I guess this started... I got a notice from GOG or Steam or one of them about Freedom Fighters. You know that game?
Refresh my memory.
It was a console game. I believe it was IO Interactive, something like that. That came out 6th gen, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox. It's an alternative future where...
EA game.
Yeah, Russians were running everything. They came out on top after World War II, and the U.S. is like the only holdout where Russians haven't taken over, and now they're invading the U.S. And I played this way back when it came out, and I remember enjoying it. It wasn't really like a great game. It was just one of those, hey, that's good. It's better than you expect. It's not going to meet your upper echelon of gaming, but it was a solid good time. So I suddenly saw this pop up. Now it's all over. You can buy it on Epic or Steam or GOG or whatever. I'm like, man, that's one of those games I kept thinking I should get that again someday, because of course I sold it back when, and it was on sale for its introduction, like a couple bucks off. Like, ooh, I didn't buy it.
No, of course not.
I wish listed it. I did think about it though for a while. I was like, maybe I should just splurge and get in on this.
Are we entering the second wave of video games? Is that what's happening? The video games are going to be spiking soon.
Well, I'd say I'm excited to get some of those. I think what's happened is when I started doing Steam and GOG, it was like, wow, look at all these other little games that I never heard of it, and they're really cheap. So let me get this. Let me get that. Let me get this. And it's basically the same thing as when you're randomly collecting physical stuff. You go out and you see, oh, here's an NES game I never heard of. Well, it's cheap. Let me get it. And then you end up getting all this stuff that you're not really interested in. If you think to some other podcasts where they talk about, I want to buy the stuff from when I was a child and only get that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I think I'm past that wave of Steam and GOG and digital gaming where I'm not buying like random, oh, that looks interesting, only $1, click, get it. Now it's like all the stuff that I remember this game, I had fun with this game, or this looks really interesting, I'm a lot more focused. So I'm probably going to go through my wish list and start deleting a lot of stuff that I see every time there's a sale. It's like, yep, there it is, 75% off again. Still not going to buy it. Just anyway, I don't know. I might pick it up someday. I'm just more curious if anyone else has played it and has like a more recent memory, because I'm basing this off of an experience from 15 years ago.
It's one of those games that I've seen I see the cover and I'm like, okay, I know that game.
Yeah,
but
you're
I've
aware
never
of
played
it, but
yeah.
I remember it being fun. Can't say it was great, but it was fun.
Okay.
But then there was also Left 4 Dead 2 was being pushed because there was some kind of update, like the user community has created some other campaign. So that went on sale again, and I haven't bought that on digital yet because I keep remembering that I played the game on the Xbox and had fun with it, really enjoyed it. But every time I tried to go back to it, I was like, man, not really feeling it. And someday it's always going to be on Steam, so I'll just get it there someday. So they made it free for the weekend. So like, oh, perfect. Let me try it out. And I started playing a couple of the levels, and immediately I remembered why I enjoyed the game so much. And I also remembered why I'm not too interested in playing it again. So thank you, Steam, for making it free for the weekend. I saved $2
there you
by
go.
not buying it. And I got my fix of, all right, shot a few zombies. I'm good.
So what's your reasoning for not wanting to play it anymore?
It's just one of those games that I kind of have reached my fill on. You know, like I'm realizing that more and more. There's a lot of games I think back on, and that was really fun, but I don't need to play it again. Just the memory is enough. I don't need to put myself in that challenge mode again and jump through all those hoops. You know, I did that. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm not too stoked on like Left 4 Dead. Like every time, like I've played it a few times and I played it with friends, and it's it is better, I think, with other people, but it's really a pain in the ass game. Like it's very like all the zombies come right at you, you know, and it's that first person view with the melee stuff, and you do get some weapons, but they don't really like all the zombies are bullet sponges, you know, like they really absorb. Like it takes a lot of shots to take them down.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like the different weapons do all that much.
No.
I just tend to go with the pistols because you got infinite ammo. You don't have to worry about suddenly switching.
Yeah.
Which apparently doesn't really matter if all the weapons are kind of the same.
But people love it.
I get it. Like I understand why people enjoy it. I think it's a good game and it's worth playing if you haven't played it. But I don't know. To be honest, I'm starting to feel that way with games I really like too. Like I don't know if I'm ever gonna go try and play Beautiful Joe again. Like
I sold all my Beautiful Joes.
Yeah, I know, because you listed your GameCube, what survived your purge, and I was like, hey, that's not in there. Like,
all three.
You moved on.
All three sold on there, and they sold very quick too.
Oh, the 2 real games, and then that like Rumble, whatever.
Yep. Yeah. If I ever want to play it, it's sitting there on the internet, and I can download it and play it there.
That's the thing. It's sometimes you might want to see or hear it. You know, something like any kind of game. Just the sounds and the sights might be enough for you. Do you have to sit there and like, okay, I'm gonna go through this level?
I bet you
go watch Star Trek or something. But
I bet you by the time I'm ready to play it again, it'll be like whatever collection coming out. You know,
I don't think Beautiful Joe's going into any collections.
Well, I mean, he appeared in one of those fighting games, right?
The character, yeah, but as far as the game, it was never such a big hit that it would be included.
Well, I think it's
that Clover Studio thing.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That shut down, and then
now the issue is that it was right? Well, Clover Studio made the game, but Capcom published it. Now everyone that worked on Clover Studio is with Platinum Games.
Yeah.
But Capcom still owns the publishing rights for it. So if they ever update it or whatever, I don't know. Like that's really why it's in this limbo. But I mean, there's been a ton of games that I never thought I would see the light of day that have, like within the last couple of years, that have popped up. Like that Blade Runner game. like that's on GOG now, and that was like always tied up with weird licensing issues or whatever, and it finally came out. So who knows? But
licensing is a pain.
It's still a great game, and it will be always, the theme song will always end the show if you're listening to the audio. I see we're getting news updates. I know, breaking news. I guess we're going to talk about politics now because we got breaking news.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to avoid it. So Trump's got the Rona.
Yep. It's amazing. It's not the Chinese hoax anymore. Suddenly it's COVID-19.
Well,
the China virus.
I was busy doing something yesterday, and then my wife came over, and she just mentioned she saw in the news, like, Trump's got the COVID. I was like, oh, okay, good for him. But immediately my brain started going to, okay, does he really have it, or is this a way of getting out of the debates? Is this a way of demanding that the election be delayed? Is this some kind of tactic? And I can't believe anything. Even like when it's the news about him, I just can't believe anything is what it seems like on the surface.
Well, I look. It was the first thing I saw on my phone this morning when I got up, and I had to like look at it like 3 different ways. Like, okay, first of all, this isn't the Onion, right? Like, this is like a legit. So it was from the New York Times, and then it's like, okay, what is exactly being said, and you got to process all that. And then I said to Sarah, "Hey, guess what? He's got the Rona." But right now, I guess Bill is saying that Trump is currently being loaded into a helicopter to go to Walter Reed. I know that they were, before we were recording this, they were saying that he might have a fever. And Bill says it's a great diversion from a bad press week, which, that could be the other thing too. But also, he did so terribly in that debate that it would be a way out. And here's the other thing too. After the election and he loses, there's something else that he can hang his hat on to say that, oh, that's the reason why I lost. I had COVID-19. If I didn't have that COVID-19, it would have been a whole different story. Sleepy Joe just snuck by me because I had the Rona.
Yeah, well, I don't wish death upon anyone. But I do believe that the best that can come of this, there is that slim chance that he actually learns something from this and gains a little experience. And with the time he has left in office, maybe he'll actually make a better attempt to help people, understanding the gravity of the situation now.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But it's not going to happen.
No.
He's going to come back, assuming he survives everything. He's going to come back and he's going to play it off like, oh, did I have that? Really? Yeah, I thought I had a cold. I was ready to work.
Well, that's basically
I was ready to go out and do more and do more publicity and had my rallies. And everyone's telling me, Mr. President, no, you gotta go back to bed. I'm like, what do you mean? I feel fine. He's just gonna go out and play it off like he's some Superman, and just like, it didn't affect me. What is everybody complaining about? I had the sniffles.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what Boris Johnson did too, right? Because he got Rona, and then he was right back on the crazy train right after that. So wouldn't surprise me. Bill's now reporting.
He's getting the absolute best care of anybody in the world right now.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Everything that everybody else has to fight for getting the right materials, the right equipment, all that stuff was probably in the White House on demand, like ready to go. Like anything happens.
Yep.
But I mean, now everyone's just waiting to hear who else has it in the White House, who else in the West Wing has got this now. How many of the people he interacted with during all these rallies and
Well, everyone got an emergency check. They checked out Ivanka and Jared. They checked out fine. Joe and his wife checked out fine. So, but apparently it's him and his wife and his top aide. Blanking on her name.
Well, who got it first? Hicks?
That's it. Yeah, Hicks. Yeah, she got it first, and they were like, "Oh, well, no big deal. It's no big deal. And then they got it. And Trump is like a candidate for the one that this virus will hit the worst because he's overweight. He's over 70. You know, he's not in good health. So
yeah, and he doesn't know how to sit down,
right,
and just rest.
So just to update the chat here, Bill says, "Remember when Trump made fun of Hillary's pneumonia?" On the last one, I do recall that, and everyone likes your Trump impression. We actually got a couple extra likes. And then Bill says, the best bleach.
The best bleach.
Bill, you're on a roll today. Very good.
We got the best bleach, the most amazing
bleach. Sorry to ruin the video game talk with some political talk. That you'll never hear that on. You'll never hear any political talk
on Brokeback Nonsense.
Brokeback Nonsense. Never have. By the way, I was thinking of Brokeback Nonsense too. I forgot to mention this. How that it was both of those guys are a little bit older, right? A little bit old.
Yeah, and they're up there.
If you combine that show, if you combine Brokeback Nonsense with STC Pod, because those guys are old too, you got the makings of the Golden Girls right there. Because obviously, like Bill would be Dorothy, right?
Yeah, he would kind of take command.
He would take command, and he'd be like, "Okay, guys, we gotta do it this way." Like that would be Dorothy. Rose, that's Duke. The innocent one with the stories of Baltimore, Maryland, back on the farm. With the chickens and all that stuff. Chris Roberts, the slut. He's Blanche.
So, definitely.
And that, of course, makes Joe
Sophia,
because he's the oldest.
Right.
And the most crotchety. There you go. Golden Girls, right there. Make it happen.
I want to see it.
I would pay money. Make that a Patreon exclusive. I would pay money to see that. That'd be good.
Can't wait to hear the song at the end of this episode.
Wonder what it'll be. All right, video games. Hopefully that made up for the talk. Where were we? The King of Dragons?
Oh yeah, I just the King of. You know that game?
It's a fighting game, isn't it?
It's beat 'em up.
Beat 'em up. That's right.
It's beat 'em up. Capcom beat 'em up from 90s or whatever. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, haven't seen Kyle in a while.
We were just trashing Trump.
You missed it. You missed Trump, and you missed the Golden Girls talk.
Yeah.
The Golden Boys, I guess it would be.
I have played that game a bunch of times, but for whatever reason, I always get interrupted when I play that game. Because I play it on the emulator, so it's like there's no reason for me to never finish that game. But for years, I've never finished that game. It's just I'll be playing, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we got to go do something. Okay. Hey, I need your help. Okay. And I always got to turn it off for some reason. I finally finished it. It's a great game. It's a very fun beat 'em up.
That's the story. Okay,
that's
good. That's no really reason why it's good, why it's fun. It just is.
Well, it's hard to say because it's so simple. There's really, in a lot of beat 'em ups, you hit the A/B combo and then you have a super attack.
Yep.
They have that. There's like a magic attack. It's nothing too great. You got 5 different characters you can pick from. It's a medieval setting. Lots of enemy types. The levels are really short, and then it's very quick to a boss battle. So you've got like orcs, you've got skeletons, you've got harpies, lizard men, mummies. There's like so many different enemy types that it never feels boring. Like, okay, I'm beating up another foot soldier again and again and again. And then lots and lots of bosses and mini bosses. It moves at a good pace, a lot of variety. It's fun, has a great visual style, fun music. There you go. Nice little beat 'em up.
All right.
What was the other thing I wrote in there?
You want to complain about GOG and Konami now?
Yeah, they suck because they released all those Metal Gear games.
Released 2.
And 2 Metal Gear games, Solid 1 and 2.
Right, and then the old
Castlevania games and Contra. And none of them are available in Japan because Konami doesn't like the country it's based in. Apparently, from what I've read, is that they are specifically ignoring Japan because they want people here to buy the collections that come out on the consoles. Everybody's got to buy their Sony console, and it's like, okay, if you want Metal Gear, we're going to release a 20th anniversary, 30th anniversary, whatever it's been, edition on the PlayStation 5, so you better go buy that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not down. They just put up that Silent Hill 4 game. That's available here. No Metal Gear. Because like I said with the Freedom Fighters thing, I sold my copy of Metal Gear a while back, and sometimes I still have that like, oh, I wish I could get it. But I don't want to hook up the PlayStation and everything. But if it was on GOG, sure, I'd pick up Metal Gear Solid. And I'd be able to play through it once in a while, and no clutter. Just
it was
right there.
It was a lot of fun on the PC as well. When we played it with the Cartridge Club, I was the one guy that was playing it on the PC, and it looked really good because you didn't have any of that dithering. You know how like that PlayStation had that dithering look over all the characters, and then very choppy, but it smoothed all that out, and it was good. It was good times. So I don't know what to tell you. There might be like, I don't know how far.
No, I'm not messing around with any of those workarounds and like, oh, I gotta get this game. It's not that important. I was just in a mood when that thing came out, and I was like, oh, come on, how come I'm getting ignored with this? I still get overcharged for the other things. There's that Capcom beat 'em up bundle. It's out on the GOG and stuff, and it was like $20 or something around you guys, and it's like triple the price.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's $60 there?
Maybe that's not the right price, but it's more.
It's more.
More.
Okay, well, I played a little bit of Elite Dangerous. One of my dream games is just a space exploration game where you can just go into space and the world's open to you. You can go anywhere and go to different planets, and sometimes there'll be aliens there, sometimes there won't, sometimes you'll be just doing some mining, sometimes you'll be talking to other aliens, all that stuff. They still haven't made that game, but I had Elite Dangerous in my Steam library, and I had been itching to play a game like that again. So I fired it up and I went through the tutorial, so I kind of know what to do in the game, like how to get a mission and how to fly the ship and all that stuff. So the first mission I picked was to collect some sort of mineral or something like that, because you can be like a smuggler, you can be a fighter. I think you can join factions, all that stuff. I thought it'd be fun to be a smuggler, to be like Han Solo and
Did you say Con Solo?
Han Solo would be even better than Han Solo. But it'd be fun to be a smuggler, I thought. So the first thing I did was like, okay, you got to pick up this mineral and you got to sneak it through the lines to, get it to the people, make some money. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And I'm like, okay, where do I find this mineral? I have no idea where to find it. So I'm looking everywhere in the game. I have no idea where to find it. All right, I'm going to go. Maybe this is one of those games where you got to go online to check to find out where it is. So I go online. It says, go to this planet here. I'm like, okay. So I set up my ship to go to this planet, put in all the coordinates and all that. I'm like, make it so. Go ship. And the ship's like, no way, dude. That's way too far for this ship. And okay, this is like too complicated. I forget it. So I went back to playing American Truck Simulator, got my wheel out and just drove my truck, listening to some tunes. Went through Seattle and then went back down through Portland, waved at the Q Dogs, came down into California, doing all that, went into Arizona. That's it.
Let's do a lot of this.
No, I was listening to tunes, so I was doing this.
Okay. Did you have your MAGA hat on?
No, I did not. No. That was it. And so then I played that. What do I want to talk about next? Well, last night I played with Derek Deej 13. And he's got his pile of friends there that play games every Thursday night. Well, him and so those guys in Creepleet were on playing Among Us. So I decided to join them. So Among Us is It's like a sort of a Clue meets The Thing meets something else. I don't know. You know how in The Thing, like everybody kind of looked like you couldn't tell who the bad people were because everybody was in disguise. What are you looking at? All right,
I'm reading Kyle's.
Don't read Kyle's stuff. You can wait. We'll get to the comments section over. I'm asking a question. Oh, look at that! Creep Lead is in the chat right now. So yeah, you know how like in the movie The Thing, where like you can tell who the alien was, right? Because because the alien could disguise himself as a person. So that's basically the idea. You're on a ship, and or it's a facility or something like that, and stuff's happening. Yeah, I guess you're in a spaceship, and stuff's happening. You got to fix a bunch of stuff, but there's one person on the ship that's a killer that's killing everybody. So you got to fix up the ship so it doesn't blow up, and avoid the killer at the same time. And one of the people you're playing against is the killer. Nobody knows who the killer is, and the killer. So as the killer, you have to kind of make it look like as if you're doing things, like you're doing the tasks, because the killer is the only one that doesn't have any tasks, right? His job is to corner you and kill you. And he also has the ability to hop into vents and zip through the ship. So if you kill somebody without anyone seeing you, you got away with something, and then you can try to corner the other people on the ship and kill them. But then if somebody discovers the body, they can alert a klaxon, and then the game stops, and then everybody goes gathers up and says, okay, what do we do here? Like, somebody's dead, who's the killer? Did anyone see anything? What did you do? What was your task to do? Because you can kind of figure out what tasks they did, if the person actually did the thing or not, because as a killer you don't have any tasks. So kind of like if you have a knowledge of the game and you kind of know what the tasks are ahead of time, you can kind of BS your way through it. So the only person that can't say anything is the person who got killed, right? They're not allowed to talk. So everybody else is trying to figure out who the killer is. So you have to guess who the killer is. Right. And we're all talking in Discord, your favorite social media.
Ew.
So we all talk in Discord while we play the game. I was playing it on my phone. It was a bit of a pain in the ass. I think they were all on computers. And it was a pain. I only picked it up on the phone because it was free, where you had to pay on Steam to play it. And it kind of sucked because the controls were terrible on it. But it was fun. I was having fun. Definitely could tell every time that Josh was the killer, because he has a tell. And I'll tell you what it is when we're done recording. I'm not going to tell him because he's listening right now. I'm going to tell you what it is, but it's funny. It's pretty funny what his tell.
Does he go?
You can't see him. You can't see him. You just have to sit back and listen. You just got to sit back and listen.
Okay.
But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely a clever game. It's kind of like playing Clue with a bunch of other people, but that element that you couldn't tell who's who. You weren't searching for, because in Clue, if you're the killer, you don't even know if you're the killer sometimes, right? You can be playing Professor Plum and your card got pulled. Whereas in this game, you know who you are. So then after you die too, and after a round goes through, you're a ghost and you're going through the ship, and you can still do your tasks as a ghost. And if you complete all the tasks, then the killer is toast. So playing again tonight. Well, tonight I can't play. I got other plans, but gonna be on Mike Ladano's show later. So anyways, so yeah, played that, and then finally there's another segment for Josh, because he likes finding trash games in the trash. These weren't in the trash. These were at a thrift store. I actually bought some dirty 3DS games, Nintendo 3DS, and one DS game. So I got these were all $5. I got Ridge Racer 3D. It's $5. I got Need for Speed The Run. $5. I got New Super Mario Brothers 2.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't have that already.
Oh, I have it already. These are to flip. And one DS game. I got the Mario Kart DS.
Oh, Nintenders.
$5. So yeah,
a lot of racing there.
Yeah, I guess it was a racing fan. So these are either going on the table at the Barry Game Exchange, or I'm going to sell them on eBay. There's the dirt.
Dirt. You know what I saw in the trash the other day? Legos.
What?
Someone filled an entire bag with just Legos. The whole bag was nothing but Legos. I was kind of curious, like, oh, there were like banana peels and other greasy things in there.
Yeah.
Nope, it was a whole thing of Legos.
Oh.
I see those things in secondhand shops, like a little bag of Legos like this, selling for like $5-10.
Yeah, they're expensive.
They just throw a couple of random blocks in there.
Everybody wants Legos.
That was easily close to $100 or more of Legos. Nothing too fancy, just blocks. But man,
I think was it last Christmas? I think it was last Christmas. I bought so my sister is all about educational toys for her kids. I'm not allowed to buy them any sort of
He-Man.
Not allowed to do that. Not allowed to buy them any sort of. They have that stuff. They do have some of that stuff, but they don't want everybody buys it. So I have
those laser guns that make different sounds every time you squeeze the trigger.
Last summer, I was allowed to buy them water guns because the kids annoyed them enough to get some water guns. So I was allowed to do that. But then at Christmas time, I had to think clever of like something by, and I've like, oh, you know what? When I was a kid, I loved space Lego. Like anytime I got some space Lego, that was like, oh man, I would build the thing that with the instructions and all that, and I would keep it for a full day. But I would just wait that whole day. I don't know, it was like some weird thing I had. And then after that full day would pass, then I would take it apart and I'd start building all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah, you gotta make the most of the toy. You can do anything you want with Lego.
Right. So I bought my niece and nephew space Lego because you have to buy them the same thing, because if you don't, they'll fight, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I got them that for Christmas, and I'm like, oh man, you guys are gonna love this. And like, here you go. Here's the presents, and they open it up and they're like, oh, I already have Lego. Why'd you buy me this?
What? I have a Lego block.
I have Legos already. I don't need this. Why would you buy this? Are you crazy? That's what my nephew said. Are you crazy? I can't.
There is nothing better than having more Legos.
I know that. You know that, but
he's sitting down playing with some Legos and somebody says, hey, look, more Legos. Doesn't matter what they are. Hey, I got another red square.
I thought I was going to be a hero. I thought, like, here you like space Lego, man. I love it. I got them like it was like a shuttle, and then some like the cars, like the moon. I would have loved that. Go up to the moon and then build the cars, and oh my goodness.
Are those kids like on the fast track? Are they like going to the elite schools and stuff? Like, what's the reasoning behind the toy?
I just out of touch, I guess. I don't know what kids like today. I don't know.
No, I mean, I like your sister doesn't want them to have like fun toys. Like,
I don't know. She's always been like that. Not too much TV, not too much. Like when we play, like, oh man, I was over there one time. We were playing the Wii, and we were having a monster good game of the Wii golf. Like, like the kids were terrible, but me and my brother-in-law and I, we were like, 8 under par on these things. We were just having such a good time. We're like, oh man, this is awesome. How far are we going to go? We were in like this serious competition, and then it was supper time and we had to turn off the Wii, and we're like, okay, well, we'll just leave it on. We'll have supper and then we'll come back. No, Wii time is done. Turn it off.
I don't know. I limit my kids to certain things when it comes to television and games. Like, all right, yeah, enough for today. But if you're in that zone, if you're having a good time, you stretch that out a little bit.
So we better acknowledge the chat here because it is bopping today. It is moving. Let's see.
Oh gosh,
Kevin should try a game called Everspace. Is from Kyle. It's a roguelite space exploration game. A little more emphasis on battles, though. I have tried that game, and I did fight some battles, and it was okay. It didn't feel like very deep, I guess. It wasn't really. I would really like like something where you explore space a little more. And then Creepy Josh, he says, yeah, that game Among Us is $5 on Steam. So it's not that much.
I'll get it on Steam when it is $5. I think it is $5. I just looked it up.
And then everyone's getting on us about pronunciation of things. Kyle says it's not Ridge Racer, it's Ridge Racer, which I did play a little bit of. I should have mentioned that. And my old man eyes can't do the small screens anymore. It's just it's too much for me. And then Creepy Josh says, fun fact, the plural of Lego is Lego, not Legos. So if I said Legos, I don't care.
No, everybody says Legos.
And
go back to Sweden.
And Bill says he's logged into 5 different machines because he's jealous.
5 different machines.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Remember, he is Dorothy, right? So he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, just for clarity, I did not take that bag of Legos home. I left it there. I did not want to scrub every little Lego.
You mean the bag of Lego?
The bag of Legos. Legos is so many of them little Legos is blocks.
There you go. That's that was some solid video game talk. I must say, I'm proud of her, of us.
You want to see what toys I bought for my kids?
Yes, I do.
I got a Medusa and some skeletons.
That's awesome.
And we're gonna fight battles. It's gonna be good times.
You're gonna roll the dice.
We can roll the dice and count the numbers.
Nice.
It's educational.
Yeah, there you go. I wonder if I can get that past my sister.
Yeah. Well, enough of that, because I've been watching Star Trek.
So you've been watching the original series.
I am, and okay. I'm not at the end of the season yet, so I can't give my full review, but it's Star Trek. It's good time.
How far in are you?
I just started... I just watched the first Menagerie episode. Okay. So essentially I'm rewatching The Cage.
Yeah, I skipped those. There are certain episodes of Star Trek that I've just seen way too many times, and the Menagerie is one of them.
It's not a bad episode if you haven't recently watched The Cage.
Yeah.
But it's like, it doesn't matter what you watch. You don't want to sit down and watch it again because they're showing clips of that show, but they're showing long clips.
We're losing our viewership by the dozens now.
Shush, you guys. It's great. There are, not to nitpick, but there are plenty of like, ooh, that's not as good as I remember moments, or that's a little cheesy moment, or mostly it's like questionable morality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a whole thing about the red shirts, the whole Star Trek myth of like, oh, if you're a red shirt, you're going to die on the away mission. But seriously, aside from them, it still seems like there is somebody that dies in every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's always some like scientist or crewman or something like, and it's so casual. It's like, we lost 3 crewmen going down to the planet. Oh, well. It's
casual until like they need to emphasize Kirk's motivation for what he's doing. Like, why are you doing this crazy thing, Kirk? Well, I just lost a crew member. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's why.
Well, that was an episode I just watched. Court Martial, which was a pretty good episode, where Kirk had to jettison a pod that contained a crewman because they were in the middle of a storm, and it was basically
that's a good episode.
It was basically get rid of that or the ship will be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's an episode of Star Trek where they sit around just watching an episode of Star Trek.
Why not? That'd be a good time.
So yeah, that was a really good courtroom thing, but it starts out exactly like that. I lost a crewman and Kurt's all upset, and then they investigate. It's like, well, why did you jettison the pod and all that? Another really good one that's kind of goofy, the Galileo 7. It's a really good Spock episode.
That's a good episode, man.
Lots of giant foam spears being thrown in.
Yes. And they kind of bounce off.
Yeah, they bounce. And at one point, it hits one of the styrofoam rocks and chips it. And you see a little piece of foam fly away.
It's amazing what you can see on the big screen now, too. Like, like
with
TVs
a little
are
higher resolution.
Yeah.
That is the one drawback. I'm watching these on Netflix, so they have all the updated visual effects for the ships and things. It's not a bad shot. It looks nice. It just doesn't match with the episode. You know, you want to see the little rinky-dink model there.
I find that the CG is really dated. Like even for 2000, like these came out in 2006, 2007, and even for those standards, they don't look very good.
It's not brilliant, but I think it's trying to maintain a certain style that matches the original show. Obviously, you don't want to do like what Discovery did and show that Enterprise with all the details and the windows and make it that high resolution.
Right. Yeah. But to me, it's more of the lighting on the 3D models that they have. They look like there isn't enough shadow on it in that to make it look like it belongs there. It looks like a 3D model, computer generated ship matted on top of a starfield. It doesn't look like as if it belongs in that starfield.
Yeah, there's something strange about it. I don't think it's terrible, but I'd rather just see the original.
Yeah, it's not as bad as the CG and I can't believe you didn't warn me about this in Enterprise, because that is some terrible CG.
They got some cheap shots. Occasionally you get something nice. The ship looks fine flying around in most scenes and everything, but then sometimes they do a lot of wide shots where they like you'll see like little Archer walking along Starfleet headquarters hallways or something, and there's just like little CG people waving their legs going by. They're I don't know if this is spoiling anything, but there's a Gorn in one episode.
I knew about that.
Yeah, so it doesn't look good.
Well, I did start watching. Is it season 3, right?
4.
Season 4. Okay, I did start watching season 4 of Enterprise. That tells I watched it a while ago. I don't know if I'm going to continue. I watched the first 3 episodes. I don't know. I got to stick in there. Like I'm not really digging it that much.
You can probably skip the first couple episodes are like the time travel aliens in the White House.
Yes,
that stuff's terrible. That's like a holdover from previous seasons.
It gets better.
It gets into the Soong and the augments, and that one's kind of like it's not so great either. Then it goes into one with Vulcans, and even that one is still kind of like after that it kind of ramps up.
Okay.
So
all right, I'll stick with it.
You got to stick through 6 or 7 episodes, and then it starts to go a little better. But you are committed now, because I already talked to Kyle and Matt, and they're on board. So
okay,
you got to do it.
The one of the bad CG things was they were back in time. They're at Earth, and every time they would go to this shot, like it was a head-on shot of the Enterprise NX over Earth, but you could tell it wasn't a 3D rendering of the ship that the camera would go around. It was just a 3D image of the ship that was plastered over top of Earth, right? Like a photo of Earth. And so like the ship wouldn't move or anything like that. It's just static. It's just like there's no, like the camera isn't going around the ship to like how it looks or anything. Like the 3D modeling in DS9 was better. So they must have like cut the budget. Well,
they,
for the show.
I'm sure there were some budgetary restraints there. The show was not doing well by that point. And, they had switched over from, Next Generation, DS9. Even in Voyager, they had an actual production ship, didn't they? Or is Voyager all CG?
I know in DS9, it was half and half.
Right. They started making that transition, and then they went into CG.
I don't know if they
actually there. Was Voyager a production model? Did they have a shooting model there?
Like for DS9, I don't know if there was an actual model for the Defiant. There was for
there may not have been for the Defiant, because towards the end of the series, after the Defiant was destroyed, they got the Sao Paulo. Another ship came in to be the Defiant.
Right.
And they didn't. like they immediately said it's the Defiant because they didn't have time to change the image, to change the call letters.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. And then like all the other effects are really bad. Like I was watching, it was like The Sopranos. Like they're back in time, right? And they're in Brooklyn, and there was one guy from The Sopranos that was one of the goons that I don't know, that was against the Nazis. The Nazis had come into the United States. It was totally rip off of that Philip Roth book where the Nazis had taken over because these aliens were helping them, right? Were assisting them with all this modern technology and that. So I'm sitting there watching this. Sarah had no idea what I was watching, and she came down to bring me a cup of coffee or something like that. And she's looking, it's like, why are these Nazis wearing masks? Like, well, they're actually supposed to be aliens. She's like, oh, that looks terrible. I'm like, well, like even like you could tell like it was like the rubber because like it was like creasing up as they would move their heads around and that.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't look too good around the neck and everything. That was terrible. That was part of the whole temporal Cold War thing that they had been hinting at throughout the first 3 seasons, and then they kind of dropped it. I think at the end of that episode, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be back," or something, and it's kind of, it builds up like you're gonna see them again, but you don't. They never come back.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I finished that. Oh, and then it was like, okay, so then I think the next episode. Yeah, okay, so that was the next episode I watched. It was, so everything had come to normal. They finished. They solved whatever it was with the temporal thing, and then like people were having issues with aliens all of a sudden because aliens had tried to take over their planet or something like that. Now we don't trust any aliens.
Right. Yeah.
And so there was like Dr. Phlox.
Dr. Phlox
was at a restaurant or something like that. And
yes,
the friends were like
going down to this restaurant.
Right. And then there was some like, obviously he was a Republican that had some problem with Phlox being there and was giving him all attitude and all that. And the thing, and I'm like, I've just seen this so many times. Like it's the same thing. Like like Star Trek, The Next Generation and the original series would make me think. I'd be like, oh geez, this was like very cut and dry. Like this guy is a bad guy. It was just, do we need to do this whole same story again?
I'm telling you, you got like a half a dozen episodes at the beginning that are kind of in the same vein as what you saw in the previous seasons. They get past it and it gets better. Again, I'm telling you, it's not going to be brilliant. This stuff isn't going to compare to your favorite episodes of other series. It just gets better and it finds a nice groove. And it's like, if the series were that for its entire 4-year run, it would have been really nice.
All right. Well, I'll hang in there.
Just hang in there a little bit.
I'll watch some more.
Speaking of Star Trek, talking about models and everything, have you ever seen the footage from the auction they had years back? It's like a Christie's Star Trek auction.
No.
You totally got to watch that stuff.
It's on YouTube?
I'm sure you can. I think that's where I watched it. But basically, I think it's going back a few years now. They had all this stuff in the warehouse, all the Star Trek stuff for years. Of just like, we've got all the ships, the costumes, the props, all this stuff. We got to get rid of it. And they had a huge auction where, yeah, there you go. Bill saw it. Where everything, like Picard's flute from the Inner Light, all of the costumes and everything, just they're going through the warehouse, opening up the crates and like, oh, look at this. This is DeForest Kelly's uniform and going through all these things. And then they just had a big auction and all this stuff has been sold, and spread out all over the world now.
Why would they sell that for? What
I think they just had too much stuff that, they had huge warehouses holding all this stuff. Because like the original Enterprise is in the Smithsonian, right? Mm-hmm. Like that one is preserved, but all the other stuff, they just couldn't keep it. So
Costs money to store it.
It costs money, and I'll spoil the ending slightly. The big one was the Enterprise D. That was the final object.
They sold the D.
Yep, those giant shooting scale ones. It's really fun. Watch through that stuff. You get to see a lot of neat props.
Yeah, there should be a Star Trek museum somewhere with all that stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. All right. Well, movies I rewatched Election. I think we talked a little bit about this movie before. Have you seen this?
Mm-hmm.
It's with it's from 1999. It's with Reese Witherspoon, who I'm not a huge fan of, but she was really good in this.
Legally Blonde?
The Legally Blonde girl. And Matthew McConaughey. No, Matthew Broderick.
Right. Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. It's done by the guy who did a movie called The Decemberists that I watched recently. And it was good. I remember liking it back then, but watching it again now. It's about this guy who's a school teacher, and Reese Witherspoon is like this prissy schoolgirl there, and she is running for president, and she's running unopposed. And this guy, this school teacher, played by Matthew Broderick, doesn't really like her too much because she slept with his friend who was a teacher and sort of got him into trouble. But stuff was like kind of kept on the down low somehow or whatever. And now she's just running unopposed as this teacher. And also she's going to be, because he is the part of his extracurricular function is to deal with the school council. So if she wins, he's going to be spending a lot of time with her. And she was already like putting the moves on him to place him in the same situation that his friend got in. So he then tries to sabotage her campaign by putting the guy, their football captain breaks his leg. And so he's just wandering around needing something to do. And he's like, well, you're really popular. Why don't you run for president or class president? And so the movie's about, he then tries to sabotage her campaign, and it kind of goes back and forth. It's good. It's a good comedy, good movie.
Political sabotage.
Yeah.
That's your escapism from the news?
Sure. Why not? I mean, it's all in good fun. It was good. It was really like good characters, well-written story, all that kind of stuff that I really like.
Did you know that Matthew Broderick, I believe when they were shooting Ferris Bueller or sometime after it during promotions or whatever, he actually killed 2 people in a car accident?
When he was shooting what movie?
Ferris Bueller.
He killed 2 people while they were shooting Ferris Bueller?
Either not while they were shooting, but around that time or sometime afterwards. He was like on a trip in some other country, Germany or Ireland or something, and he got into a car accident and he killed 2 people.
No, I didn't know that. Was he under the influence, or was it a legit accident?
I think it's a little. I think it's been hushed
gray area?
Up with a little bit of money. But, other countries driving on the wrong side of the road. I don't know if there was anything involved in his system or whatever. But
no, I did not know that.
You did.
Wow. Well, on that note, I also watched. So like I mentioned in the last episode, I watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This is the first time I watched it in quite a while. And I've always, I've watched it a couple of times before in the past. And I've always felt that movie was, just screwball comedy or whatever, and never really, I guess, kind of watched it casually. But this time I watched it a little more in depth. And there is
sorry, is Kirstie Alley in that?
No, it's Phoebe Cates and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And let me tell you, you can tell that this movie was directed definitely had a woman's touch because Amy Heckerling directed it, and there's a lot of heart in that movie. There's a lot of kids dealing with some serious issues and discovering themselves. That's really a good coming of age movie. And sure, there is a lot of goofiness with Spicoli and all that stuff. And yes, there is Phoebe Cates' boobs. A lot of Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's naked in a lot of the movie as well. But it's like a legitimately good movie. It's not just like one of those like Revenge of the Nerds. You know, you watch that movie and it's just goofy screwball comedy. You know, it's not. Fun. It's a fun movie,
right?
But I wouldn't say Revenge of the Nerds is a a good story or something like that, or had like characters that like you could really relate to or something. It's just a funny movie. Whereas
Bill has a full heart on when I watch it.
I imagine his brain wouldn't be able. He probably it's one of those movies that it's like All in the Family, where it spoke to people on both levels. It spoke to like people with intelligence on one level, and then the other people it spoke on another level. And I imagine Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Bill would be on the other level for that movie. But it was really good. And then I watched because we watched Stripes. I also had on the PVR. All this stuff just happened to come up on the PVR. I watched Meatballs. And you watched that recently as well, right? Like not too long ago?
I don't know that I've ever seen Meatballs.
Okay, well, we were talking about with Stripes how Bill gets a little aggressive with PJ Souls in that movie, right? With the stove and everything.
Bill?
Yeah, Bill Murray. Bill Murray.
Okay.
Not STC Pod Bill. Bill Murray. Talking about the movie Stripes.
Okay.
Yes. You know how he gets a little aggressive with PJ Souls where she's on the stove and all that stuff. Okay. Well, take that and amplify it by about 50 because he literally gets on top of a woman and she is like on the couch saying, "Get off me, get off me. No, no, no." And he is totally on top of her. It is very cringy. Like it is, oh my goodness. I could not believe what I was watching. Like,
what year was Meatballs?
This is 1979. 80s? So this
79. Okay.
Right. So this is just a couple of years before. Like, I can't believe there was any time that this was okay.
So he toned it down for.
Yes, he toned it down for Stripes and then toned it down again for Ghostbusters. Like, you can't believe like this was the same guy that was in those scenes with Sigourney Weaver, and where was I going with that? I had somewhere. Okay, so the scene does pay off because there is a joke. Like there's a reason why he's doing this. There is a joke where it does pay off where a guy comes into the room and he's like basically the boss of all the camp counselors, and Bill Murray wheels her on top of him and then says, "Hey, get her off of me. She's attacking me," kind of thing. So there was a joke there, but it was a very cringy, like 2 minutes to get to that point. And when it happens, like, okay, yeah, that was funny. Like, I get the joke, but man, I don't know how that was ever funny. It was really bad. The rest of the movie, though, was pretty good, though. There's a lot of heart in the rest of the movie. So,
well, that was back when the cocaine was flowing.
I don't think Mr. you could blame cocaine on it. I don't know. It did not come
off.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it was the times and the mentality and all of that.
Right. And he goes after her a few times and she's like kind of laughing him off or whatever. But that one scene where she's just like, "No, get off me." It was like, whoa, we went way too far. We crossed the line and there's no going back. Okay, and finally, the last movie I watched was Eastern Promises. This is a movie I watched about 10 years ago. It came out 2017 or 2007. Sorry. This movie is infamous for having a scene with Viggo Mortensen fighting completely nude. His wang is out there. You see the coin purse. You see everything, man. It is all over the place in this one fight scene. It's an intense fight scene.
Eastern Promises.
Yeah. If you want to see Viggo Mortensen's wang and tackle and the bits and everything.
Oh, I've seen it.
Oh, you have? Okay. You haven't seen the movie. You've just seen Viggo's stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. It's not the first movie or maybe not the last movie. He's done Captain Fantastic, I think it was called.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. Full frontal on that one.
Well, this is like it's fight, like bent over, like he's wrestling another guy. Viggo's a Canadian? Did not know that.
No.
I don't know what he's
he has he speaks like 5 or 6 different languages. He's lived around.
He's an American Danish actor. I don't know what Bill's talking about. Anyways, so I remember really liking this movie, and I couldn't remember too much about it, so I watched it again. And yeah, he's not Canadian, Bill. He's American. So I don't. Maybe he's a Canadians fan, but he's, according to Wikipedia, his citizenship is in the United States and Denmark.
He lived in somewhere in South America or something for a while.
And he was born in really Watertown, New York. Maybe Bill's thinking of someone else. Maybe he's thinking of someone else. I don't know. So yeah, I watched the movie again. Wait, what?
Nothing. Canadian fight just triggered something, got me angry. Just remembered.
Okay. Anyways, I watched the movie back in the day. I remember really liking it. I watched it this time, and there's way too many plot holes in this movie to enjoy it. So it revolves around this diary that this girl had written, and she's involved with the mafia. She was from the Ukraine, and she was basically child abduction. She was abducted into this mafia to basically become a slave and be their sex slave kind of thing. And one of the guys knocks her up, so she's pregnant. She walks into a pharmacy. She's like 9 months pregnant. She's like, I need help. And she passes out, and she gets sent to this hospital where she dies. But this nurse, played by Naomi Watts, saves the baby. So now Naomi Watts is looking for the parents, or looking for relatives of hers to bring the baby to, because she doesn't want the baby to end up in the foster care system. So she has this book that it's a diary written by this woman, and she needs someone to translate it. Her uncle speaks Russian and reads Russian, but he's a bit of a dick, so she doesn't want to ask him. So there was a leaflet in the book for this restaurant. So she goes to this restaurant, and it's run by a guy who is a Russian. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can look after that for you. Just give me the book and I'll translate the thing for you and everything. So it gets this weird vibe off this guy. And she goes back to him, gets him to translate. She makes photocopies of the thing because she doesn't trust him with the book, gets him to translate that. Finds out that, one of the guys, finds out that the backstory and all that. The problem with the movie is, it's like, well, why does she need this guy to translate the book for her? It's just in Russian. Go to the police. I'm sure they could find a way to translate this book and find out if there's something going on. If you don't like that, it was 2000. So they made this movie in 2006. The internet was still around. The internet was around, and translating was done on Google. You could go several sites to go and get this thing translated. Just start typing it in, and it would translate Russian to English for you. And then it gets spoiler alert for this movie. If you want to watch it, just shut your ears off. So it turns out that Viggo Mortensen, who was a guy in the mafia, is actually a cop that's infiltrating the mafia to try to catch them on something. He's undercover. They don't reveal this until the later part of the movie. But at some point, Viggo has the book, and he has read it himself because he can read Russian. Why doesn't he take the book to the police and say, we got him, job done. I don't have to be undercover anymore. I got the evidence right there. Just get a DNA test from the baby and a DNA test from this guy, and boom, Bob's your uncle. We caught them all. There you go. Mm. I don't know why they don't do that. No, they don't do that. They try to take care of the whole thing themselves, and it was boring.
Because that's the movie.
Hey, Bill's yelling at me for spoilers. Look, the movie came out in 2007. I don't care. It wasn't very good. You don't need to watch it because there's too many spoilers.
Canadian fight just reminded me in my head. Rick Moranis got attacked.
That's right. Yeah, he got attacked. Yeah. What's up with that? He
just got punched in the head.
I know. Somebody not nice. In New York.
Not good.
People should love Rick Moranis in New York.
Apparently, it happened not far from where Louis Tully lived.
On the Upper West Side? No, that was Janos.
That was Janos.
Yeah, he lived up on the Upper West Side.
Where are you from? The Upper West Side?
Yeah, Rick Moranis lived off of Central Park because that's where that building was. Mm-hmm. I don't know New York geography as very well to tell you what is off of Central Park. Mm-hmm. But anyways.
I don't know. Poor Rick Moranis.
See, and everyone's saying
okay though.
See, everyone's saying that movie was good. They enjoyed it. Watch it again. Watch for those plot holes. It's 2000. Maybe it was good in 2007, but
some movies are okay if you don't pay attention to the details.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm watching this movie, and it's like obvious.
It depends on what kind of movie you're into. Like, if you just want, blank stare fun, some movies are good. But if you want to pay attention to it, then you realize.
I'm watching. Okay, so I'm identifying with Naomi Watts. She wants to save this kid, right? And it's like I'm watching her struggle to get this book translated, and it's like she got to go to this creepy guy to get this book translated. Like, why do you got to go to the creepy guy? She's in London, England. She's got several options to go get this book translated.
London's not a very big city.
London is one of the biggest cities.
There's not a lot going on there.
Yeah. Yes, and it was David Cronenberg, so it's a Canadian guy, but whatever.
Lie.
Yeah.
Look at that. Steven pops in as soon as we
say it. Good. He pops in right at the end just to derail the whole thing. Okay. That's it.
We're done. See you, Kyle. Kyle had to jump.
That's it. I don't think we have anything else.
Pretty much. I'll mention a movie that I quit. I tried watching The Equalizer.
Oh, with Denzel?
Denzel Washington. I didn't really know anything about it. I just saw the trailer pop up. I was like, you know what? Fine. Click. Watch a little bit. And it's like, this is it's just doing John Wick stuff, but not very good. And yeah.
They made a sequel. I think it's out.
Yeah, it's the whole, he's a retired super guy that used to be able to do all this kind of cool spy stuff or assassin stuff or whatever. And he's always timing himself. He's like, 16 seconds. Go fight people. Kill. It's that, like, I've got everything calculated, analyzed. Nobody can touch me. Beep. Check my time. No. It's a lot more fun when there's some risk involved.
All right.
Yeah.
I watched One Day at a Time, the 1975 sitcom. I got an order today to put in the very first episode of One Day at a Time for some reason. I think they got a remake out now, and I think it's on our channel. So in order to promote it, they wanted to talk about the old show or something.
Talk about the good show to promote the new show.
Well, I watched that pilot episode, and my God, I was laughing my ass off. It was good times. One Day at a Time was good times. That show held up. That was the first time I watched it in a bajillion years.
There are a lot of shows from the 70s and the 80s that still like.
That's my thing. That's like, it just, they talk about nostalgia. That feels like nostalgia to me. Hearing those terrible laugh tracks and all that. That spoke to me because I used to watch all those shows with my mom. And, good times. Anyways, that show holds up. Schneider was cutting me up. He has a pass key into their apartment because he's the building superintendent. In case they need anything supervised in their.
He's always got that. It was like a denim vest and a white T-shirt.
Yep. with the cigs.
With the cig, wrapped up in the sleeve.
Yep. Something else. Okay, follow Retro Fandango on Twitter at retro_Fandango. Get a boner with Fandango. You know how. And Discord. Check out Discord. Discord's actually become you got to give Fast and the Furious a try. You got to. It's good. You got to.
Is that what's going on there?
Oh, I can't kill it. Everybody comes on there, and all they want to do is talk about Fast and the Furious.
Really? Well, maybe they get better as they go on.
No, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that. But today was the day that it got compared on the same level as Eat Man. It was like, if you like Eat Man, you got to like Fast and the Furious. They're the same kind of mindless fun. I'm like, what? I don't know. So maybe I need to watch this so I can have an opinion about Fast and Furious.
You should. Kamala Harris enjoys the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Look, that's good for her. She would have creamed Trump in that debate, by the way. That would have been something. There was a few moments in that debate where I was just, come on, Biden, get in there, man. Like when Trump was saying, "Oh, I have all these rallies and everybody's fine, everybody's good." It's like Biden should have came in and said, "Hey, did you forget about Herman Cain? Like, what's going on with you there?"
Yeah, I think he was, granted, he is a little older. He doesn't have that energy for a shouting match.
And on the Vinyl podcast there, I was talking to Chris Roberts, and Chris Roberts came up with a good point that Biden is a recovering stutterer. Like
that's true.
Yeah, he's always battling that. So, and I watched Biden today before we started recording this. He was doing, like we're going to pray for the president and all that. And then he was laying out like his plans for everything in that. And he was great in that. Watch his speech from Michigan today. It's October 2nd. If you're listening to this later, go check that out. It's probably on YouTube. He was really good and powerful today.
He's got his moments. Like he can do it. It's just in that debate. Yes. It was just a shouting match. How do you stand up against like a car alarm that's going off next to you?
It's pretty much a klaxon. Just yeah.
Well, who knows if we're going to get another one? At least we should get the vice presidential one.
Yes,
so you'll get to see her in action.
Oh, I can't wait. She's going to cream Pence, man. Because Pence, his go-to is always, "I'm so inspired to do this and do that." That's all he says. "I'm inspired." Have a chug of beer every time Pence says "inspired." If you want to get drunk fast. Okay, that's it. Political talk done.
Done.
Plane crashed. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat. We had It's Rocket Sauce. We had Bill from Start to Continue. We had CatMax Gaming coming in at the end. We had Kyle. We haven't talked to Kyle in a long time.
We had Toku Joe. We had Toku Josh. Joe. They both bailed as soon as we said Star Trek.
Star Trek. Boom. Don't blame them. It's okay. Not everything we do is for everybody. That's all right. We don't belittle our audience like some people do. Actually, that show just belittles me for some reason. And it's every time I'm not in the chat. I watch that STC pod like 3 days later, and they're just knocking me for the dumbest things. I don't know what's wrong with those guys. They got nothing else to go to.
From somewhere.
I guess so. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.